It was supposed to be just another peaceful night under the stars. A group of young campers nestled safely in their tents, with their camp counselors keeping watch. But in the dead of night, something lurked in the shadows. A pair of glowing eyes, a silent predator creeping ever closer. Then in a flash the tranquility shattered. A blood-curdling scream echoed through the wilderness as a rabid bobcat launched a brutal attack on a sleeping counselor. Claws slashed, teeth tore, and chaos erupted in the heart of the Connecticut wilderness. What happened next was a fight for survival. 3 brave counselors against a frenzied, diseased predator. This was no ordinary animal encounter. This was a savage tale. If you love heart-pounding, jaw-dropping, real-life stories of humans facing off against the wild, you've come to the right place. From terrifying predator attacks to unbelievable animal encounters, we bring you the most intense, spine-chilling and mind-blowing survival stories from around the world. Today's episode is about a camping trip that turned into a nightmare when a rabid bobcat attacked in the middle of the night. We'll break down exactly what happened, how the camp counselors fought back, and what you should do if you ever face an aggressive wild animal. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Before we dive into this insane story, I need you to help our channel grow so we can bring you more savage encounters every week. Smash that like button. It tells YouTube that you love this kind of content and helps more people find these wild stories. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in this situation? Have you ever had a close call with a wild animal? I want to hear your stories. Hit that subscribe button and become part of our growing community of wildlife enthusiasts, adventure seekers, and survival fans. Don't forget to ring the notification bell. That way you never miss an episode of Savage Tales, Animal Encounters. All right, buckle up because this is one tale you won't believe. Let's dive in. Savage Tales, where humans and wildlife collide. The dense Connecticut wilderness was alive with the familiar sounds of nature. Crickets chirped rhythmically, the occasional hoot of an owl echoed through the trees, and the gentle lapping of water against the shore provided a calming backdrop. It was just another night for the wilderness school campers who had spent the day hiking through Selden Neck State Park, an isolated and rugged island in the Connecticut River. The trip had been everything they had hoped for: adventure, bonding, and a deep connection to the wild. The campers, exhausted from their long day of trekking and canoeing, had eagerly crawled into their tents, drifting off into a well-earned sleep beneath the vast star-speckled sky. Meanwhile, their counselors remained nearby, keeping watch over the group and ensuring everything was safe. One of the counselors, an experienced outdoorsman, had chosen to sleep in a hammock tied between 2 sturdy trees rather than in a tent. The cool night air was refreshing, and the gentle sway of the hammock provided a sense of tranquility. Above him, the moon cast a silvery glow over the forest, its pale light filtering through the canopy of leaves. Everything seemed peaceful, safe. Yet deep in the darkness beyond the campsite, something moved. Unbeknownst to the campers and their guardians, a predator had been lurking in the shadows. A bobcat, usually a secretive and elusive creature, was nearby, but this wasn't just any bobcat. It was sick, rabid, its mind twisted by the deadly virus coursing through its veins, turning a normally cautious and solitary animal into an erratic, aggressive hunter. The signs had been there, though unnoticed in the busyness of the day. Earlier, strange rustling noises had come from the underbrush, but they had been dismissed as the harmless scurrying of small creatures. A few birds had suddenly taken flight, startled by something unseen. Even the usual night sounds seemed slightly off, an eerie quietness that should have been a warning. Then, in the shadows just beyond the flickering embers of the campfire, 2 eyes gleamed, fixated, unblinking. The bobcat's body was low to the ground, its muscles tensed, its breathing shallow and rapid. Saliva dripped from its slightly opened jaws, foam collecting at the corners of its mouth. It was no longer thinking like a normal bobcat. It wasn't hunting for food. It was driven by an uncontrollable rage, a mindless aggression that made it unpredictable and extremely dangerous. Slowly, the rabid predator crept forward, each step carefully placed to avoid detection. It maneuvered between trees and bushes, its sleek body blending seamlessly with the darkness. The scent of humans filled its nostrils. Unfamiliar, but now in its warped state, they were prey. It didn't care about the fire, nor did it fear the presence of multiple people. The virus had stripped it of all instinctual caution. Its ears twitched at the sound of slow, steady breathing. Then it saw him. Suspended in the hammock, swaying gently in the breeze, the counsellor slept, completely unaware of the predator closing in. His arms were relaxed, his chest rising and falling with each deep breath. The bobcat inched forward closer and closer, every fibre of its body tightening, ready to spring. A moment of stillness, a deep inhale, and then the attack began. Like a coiled spring suddenly released, the rabid bobcat exploded from the underbrush with terrifying speed and precision. Its muscles, driven by disease-induced fury, propelled it forward, claws outstretched, jaws agape. In an instant, the once quiet night was shattered by a blood-curdling scream. The counsellor jolted awake, his body instinctively reacting to the sudden weight crashing onto his chest. But there was no time to fully grasp what was happening. The bobcat's claws tore into his shoulder and arm, raking deep, burning gashes into his skin. Its powerful jaws clamped down just below his neck, sinking sharp fangs into his flesh. The hammock, never meant to support the thrashing chaos of a battle, twisted violently beneath them. The counsellor flailed, trying to shield his face from the onslaught, but the bobcat's relentless aggression gave no room for defense. His world became a blur of pain, snarling, and the overwhelming stench of wild animal musk mixed with saliva. The sheer shock of the attack sent his survival instincts into overdrive. Kicking and thrashing wildly, he fought to free himself, but the rabid predator was unyielding. It clawed, bit, and lashed out with terrifying precision. Blood now slicked the fabric of the hammock, dripping onto the dirt below. Then, snap! The hammock's support ropes gave way under the chaotic struggle, sending both man and beast crashing to the ground. The impact momentarily stunned them both. But it was only seconds before the bobcat lunged again, this time aiming for his face. But the counsellor wasn't alone. Hearing his agonized screams, two other adult leaders sprang into action. Flashlights cut through the darkness as they rushed toward the scene, their adrenaline surging at the horrifying sight before them. The counsellor was on his back, struggling to keep the bobcat's gaping maw from his throat. Blood stained his shirt and his face was contorted with pain and desperation. Without hesitation, the first rescuer grabbed a thick tree branch and swung with all his might, striking the bobcat across the side. The impact sent the animal tumbling, but it recovered instantly, turning its crazed, glowing eyes toward the new threat. A guttural snarl erupted from its throat, and in a blur of fur and teeth, it launched at the second counsellor, who barely had time to react. The second counsellor stumbled back, throwing up his arms in defense, but the bobcat latched onto his forearm, its claws slicing through his sleeve and into his skin. The force of the attack sent both of them to the ground. A brutal struggle ensued, kicks, punches, desperate attempts to pry the animal off, but the rabies-driven bobcat fought with an unnatural tenacity. The first rescuer swung again, this time striking the bobcat squarely on the head. A yowl of pain echoed through the trees, but still the beast refused to stop. It turned on the first counsellor once more, lunging despite its injuries. With their lives on the line, the three men fought relentlessly, using anything they could, branches, fists, even their own bodies, to subdue the relentless predator. The battle felt endless, but at last, after what seemed like an eternity, they managed to overpower the bobcat, ending its rampage for good. Panting, bloodied, and shaken, the three counsellors sat back, their chests heaving with exertion. The silence that followed was deafening. The once peaceful campsite was now a scene of chaos, torn clothing, blood-stained dirt, and the shattered remains of the hammock. The campers, awoken by the commotion, remained in their tents, fear gripping them as they waited for reassurance. Only when the counsellors, still bleeding and in shock, called out that the danger had passed did they cautiously emerge. Flashlights illuminated their wide, frightened eyes as they took in the scene before them. Despite their injuries, the counsellors immediately took control of the situation. They checked one another's wounds, applied first aid as best they could, and radioed for emergency assistance. But being on an isolated island meant rescue wouldn't be immediate. Hours later, first responders arrived by boat, transporting the wounded counsellors to the hospital. Their injuries, though painful, were not life-threatening. Meanwhile, the Bobcat's body was collected for testing. When the results came back, they confirmed what the men already suspected. It had been rabid. The attack left an indelible mark on everyone involved. For the campers, it was a chilling reminder that the wilderness, for all its beauty, could be unpredictable and dangerous. For the counsellors, it was an experience that would stay with them forever. A night where instinct, teamwork and sheer determination saved their lives. As for the wilderness school, this was the first recorded animal attack in the program's history. But thanks to the courage and quick thinking of the camp counsellors, all the young campers made it home safe. A savage tale indeed, one that won't be forgotten. Wow, what a terrifying and intense encounter. Just imagine being in that counsellor's shoes, waking up to a rabid predator sinking its claws and teeth into you in the dead of night. That's the kind of nightmare fuel that makes you appreciate every peaceful night you spend indoors. If you loved this story and want more jaw-dropping, spine-chilling, real-life encounters between humans and the wild, then don't leave just yet. You can help keep Savage Tales Animal Encounters going strong. Here's how. Smash that like button. It tells YouTube you want more wild survival stories and helps bring them to a bigger audience. The more likes we get, the more savage tales we can uncover. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in this situation? Have you ever had a close call with a wild animal? We love hearing your stories. Who knows, maybe your experience could be featured in a future episode. Subscribe and join the Savage community. If you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button right now so you never miss a single episode. We drop heart-racing animal encounter stories every week and you don't want to miss out. Ring the notification bell. YouTube doesn't always show new videos to everyone, so if you want to be the first to hear the next insane survival story, make sure you turn on all notifications. Thank you for watching. We appreciate every single one of you for tuning in, supporting the channel, and sharing these incredible stories with us. Nature is wild, unpredictable, and often unforgiving, but that's what makes these tales so gripping. Until next time, stay alert, stay safe, and remember, when humans and wildlife collide, only the strongest survive. This is Savage Tales Animal Encounters.